I'm just saying, man, out of all the habits and addictions, I've had many, being free of edging, this is like the most important thing that I became free of. It has the best, highest results because it bleeds through into literally every area of my life on the both gross level and subtle level. It affects. What are the effects? We need a little background information first. First thing, we have to be free of the PMO. Those who don't know, porn, masturbation, orgasm. I still get that question a lot in the comments. What's PMO? Because there's new people, and especially the girls, sometimes they don't know what that is. And by the way, the girls benefit from this. They don't get get out of free jail card just because they're a girl and they don't have semen, because we're talking about OGs. You can see my other videos on OGs, those who want to explore that. All you got to do is just write OGs in my channel search box and then you'll see some videos. OGs, everybody has OGs. Dopamine stimulation burns OGs. Porn, masturbation, orgasm burns OGs. Girl, guy, animal, doesn't matter. So we're preserving that here. So that's the first. And by the way, I have a semen retention book. It's on my website. What's it called? The Unspeakable Power of Preserving Your Sexual Energy. If some of you want to check that out, you can see my website. I get deeper into all these aspects. So if you got to be free, at least I did, of PMO first, and then the next level is being free of edging. So I'm talking to all levels of consciousness here on this channel, and hopefully you don't get into comparison and who's higher and who's lower. I don't see that much though in my comments. Like the people who are higher, see, if you're truly higher, you don't talk to somebody like, oh, they're down. Nor do you say, look, man, all you got to do is just stop. Yeah, right. You know, the people who just talk like that, all you got to do is this technique. All you got to do is do this. That means that they're not doing it their own self. They're lying to themselves. And I used to do that too. So I know how all these little pitfalls and stages we have to go through. But I wanted to make this video anyway because there's a certain group of people that know what I'm talking about. When they're free of edging, it takes you to another level, man. I'm going to talk about the effects. So, but we have to get free of the PMO first. Edging meaning, okay, let's define edging. Unhealthy dopamine stimulation. The kind of dopamine stimulation that is going to make you crave that thing more. The kind of thing that you escape from life, you escape from your feelings. When you have something happen in life, instead of just bearing it and feeling it, you want to escape from it and go get high or drink. In this case, we're talking about getting a dopamine stimulation. So then you'll go to the club or something and try to get girls to look at you and give you a hit of dopamine. Oh, they gave me some validation. Yeah, that's dopamine stimulation. Lusting, sexual fantasies, thinking about your previous things that you used to do with girls or future projections, or just you get creative. Well, that would be cool if a bunch of nurses, if I went to the hospital and the nurses started doing things with, whatever. Infinite fantasies we can have. That gives a dopamine hit. Or looking at porn and just not orgasming and stimulating your sexual center, that gives a strong dopamine hit. These are all examples of edging. Going to the beach, seeing, trying to show off your gains and see if a girl checks it and all that stuff. If you're young, you have to do that though for a little bit, like just to get it out of your system. I did. I understood. I knew, even though it was burning up my energy, I still had to do it because like the season was over. What can I do? I had to keep doing it, especially when I was in other countries where I was like I was a foreigner, man. I was like some exotic thing, like that they're not used to seeing. So the girls would give me a lot of attention. That I was frying my brain with the dopamine stimulation, but whatever. This is how I come to know how good it is to be free of it, though. You see, I was deep into it, and now I don't do it at all because like I burnt out on it. It's like I don't like it. I don't get a hit anymore. I get embarrassed actually if a girl if I can sense that she's admiring some kind of superficial or aesthetic feature. It's like okay, Like it feels, almost like when you're a kid or something. It's like, oh, she has cooties or something. It's like weird. It's funny how that happened. Before I was dying to get it. I was putting myself in situations to get it. I would drive around in Thailand and Bali and India. I'm like, oh, this is a good situation. I'm gonna like, those girls look pretty open. They look like they're wild. So I think when I walk by them, they're really gonna give it up. Oh yeah, good, cool. Let's see how I can work this. I'll just pretend like I'm like going to the store. Oh, I'll ask them for directions somewhere too. Then I can engage with them. And then I'll like, oh, I should take my shirt off to, flex these gains. And then you see, I just work all that out, man. Now, see, like the opposite. So, what are the benefits, though? Why am I saying the edging is so beneficial more than any other addiction that I ever quit? Because the damn edging, since I was probably 11 or something, that permeated like my entire day and night, sometimes dreams. You don't realize how much your life is being influenced by this sexual instinct until you start to get some space from it, and you're at a higher vantage point now, to where you have some perspective now. When you're totally in something, how are you going to see it? You're like in it, you can't see it. When you start to come out of it, then you can start to evaluate the results and be like, oh man, I'm grateful I'm not in that shit anymore. You know how much space is freed up in your hard drive when your sexual instinct isn't pulling you anywhere anymore, both on physical level or mental level in the form of fantasies, or emotional level, getting all jacked up from that. Not to mention, you're not overstimulating your dopamine center anymore. You overstimulate your dopamine center, your nervous system's going to get out of balance. And in a matter of time, you may not feel it when you're young, and that's what they say. No, I feel better. Yeah, I know. Just wait, man. The excessive dopamine stimulation, some of you feel it earlier because you already have a sensitive nervous system. You're fortunate. So you already know what I'm talking about. When you're overstimulating your dopamine, you're not relaxed. You can't chill. You're just on edge all the time. You're on edge, so you're always edging because you're trying to escape this feeling of unease. So then you just go edge more, which makes you feel more unease. And it's just a vicious, diabolical circle that you're stuck in. Edge more, feel more edgy. Edge more, feel more edgy. So when you start to come out of that, it's like getting out of jail. I remember I got out of jail. I had a hard time because I went when I was 16 and they locked us up with, I was in there for suspended driver's license. They locked us up with, they mixed us all together because they don't do that anymore, but it was an 18-year-old juvenile pod in the jail. And they mixed the misdemeanors with the felonies. And I'm like, what? There were murderers, rapists in there, and man, I was fighting every day. I mean, they didn't want these gangs. No, they had some gangs, so that was the problem. But that sucked. When I got out of jail, my grandma picked me up. And oh man, I felt like, you know how stupid I was though? My license was still suspended, and my grandma was like, she's nice, but she's not aware of the situation. She said, do you want to drive? Because she knew I'd been locked up. She thought I would enjoy driving. I'm like, yeah, I'll drive. Do you know how if I would have got pulled over, they'd have took me right back? And it was midnight, and the jail was in a Section 8 part of town. So, it was just crazy, man. It was only by grace. God helped me. He's like, okay, he's too ignorant. Let him drive home. And then it hit me when I got home. I'm like, how the hell did I do that? So that's how I felt when I started to become free of edging. It's like I got out of jail. I realized just damn near every moment of my life was somehow taken up by the obsession with female energy, or stimulating the dopamine center, stimulating the sex center. Just the whole life. So you drop the edging. It's like then you start to feel like well, this is what it's like to be a human being. Huh, I had no idea for decades. I'm making a separate video where I talk a little more about. I made this video in the past, but it's been a few years. But like kind of like my journey, how it started. It's in my book also, but it's different when book is different than when I'm speaking. But I want to hit on that in that video. So you stop the PMO, and then this is the irony. You stop the PMO. At least when I stopped the PMO, I started edging even more. I really became familiar with what edging and lusting is when I stopped the PMO. Because when I was doing the PMO, there'd be a release. And then I just don't feel like, I don't care about girls now because I have no energy. So I stopped that, and then that buildup of energy would keep accumulating. But I didn't want to release no matter what, because I realized like that was important. And something inside me, I had the intestinal fortitude to not release. And so I didn't. And so then it came out via edging though. Not to mention, I walked around hard 24 hours. So every time I go outside, man, and girls just all of a sudden looked real good. Like real good. Like every girl. I remember in a video I said even 70-year-olds look good. And a couple of people thought I said 7-year-olds. I'm like, nah, bro. I said 70-year-olds. So they just, everybody started looking too damn good, you know. And I don't have any answer or solution on, there's no remedy for that. You just got to go through that process. You got to just go through it. You just got to be, crazy for a little bit. And if it gets too much, then sometimes people say, well, I don't know, but it's too much. Maybe I should release every so often. Yeah, you have to figure that out and see. You're going to release. If it gets really, really too much, you're going to release. You don't need to make some kind of date on your calendar and say, oh yeah, now it's the 15th. It's time to release. Life is running your show. Life, your life, and life is like playing this game called evolution, and it's going to like do everything for you. When it gets too much, you're going to release, and you don't need to ask anybody about it. It's just going to happen. Or it'll come out in a wet dream, or when you piss, or whatever. You have to just work this. You have to just work this. Once you start seeing the benefits, though, automatically, you're just going to keep trying. I like this saying, I heard it, I don't remember who said it. He said, act as though everything depends on you. Meaning, if you want to change, if you want to get higher consciousness, higher character, make the effort to get it. See, now most people stop there. That's the problem. It makes you more crazy, because then you get into guilt and shame, and because you realize like you don't have the power to do this. So I'm going to share the other aspect. Pray as though everything depends on God, meaning you can't do anything, because really we can't. Any power that we have or effort that we make that produces a positive result, it's only because it's being backed by the divine power. And it's our season to transform. If it's still your time you're in the transformational stage, the grind, try, fail, try, fail. You have to taste that season. If that's the season you're in, then you can't get out of it. You got to go through that season. And so that's why I share this dual aspected spiritual principle. You try as hard as you can as though everything depends on you. At the same time, you pray as though everything depends on God. It don't have to be prayer, meaning you somehow tune in your own individual way of, you align yourself with this source power that created the universe, created you, lives inside everybody. You be open to how you can access that power. You can talk, you can pray, you can meditate, you can do japa and mantras, you can, whatever. There's no standard of what's best. Something in you realizes you need some higher power rather than just mental horsepower. That is a really good dualistic principle, because then it's balance. And in the meantime, you give yourself a break, man, when you fail. It's inevitable. Who cares? You're trying. And I'm trying to give some inspiration to say it's worth it. But that's not enough. You don't know me, you don't live inside me, you don't know. So you keep going so that you experience what I'm saying for your own self. That's like the carrot that gets you to keep going. Because you're like, damn, this is cool. It is cool not to be a slave to the sexual desire. And you realize, like, I'm not missing anything. Like, geez, I'm not missing anything. Oh, you haven't had sex in 2 years. So what? Like, who cares? I've had sex before. It's not like it's some new thing. Yeah, but the medical papers say you need to have sex to be healthy. Yeah, they're all addicts. That's why they're saying that. You see, you don't care anymore about, oh, what's the popular thing now I hear in my comments? I heard that you can get prostate problems for preserving your semen. All this nonsense, man. I didn't. And I had blue balls like on an insane level. And I still didn't release because I didn't want to. I just didn't want to. I just wasn't going to release. I didn't care if the balls exploded. Who cares? Like, whatever. I never got prostate problems. In fact, I had my prostate score checked some 10 years ago just for fun. And I had a zero. Yeah, zero. My PSA was zero. Can't get better than that. All right, so it's nonsense. All that's nonsense. You'll have prostate problems if you keep spasming your sex center and have an orgasm. Then you're going to have prostate problems. I've said before, this life is backwards. What you're being told by society and social media, it's all backwards. It's coming from people who are a slave and addicted to the things that I'm trying to encourage you to become free of. So they rationalize and justify and come up with clever justification that keeps you stuck in that in the name of staying healthy. You have to be smart enough to see through that, you know, and a lot of you can. And so I'm affirming that in you. All right, good. I'll see you guys later. This was a long one, wasn't it?